Refinding the Soul. When I had the vision of the flood in October of the year 1913, it happened at a time that was significant for me as a man. At that time, in the 40th year of my life, I had achieved everything that I had wished for myself. I had achieved honor, power, wealth, knowledge, and every human happiness. Then, my desire for the increase of these trappings ceased, and the desire ebbed from me, and horror came over me. The vision of the flood seized me, and I felt the spirit of the depths. But I did not understand him. Yet he drove me on with unbearable inner longing, and I said, "My soul, where are you? Do you hear me? I speak, I call you. Are you there? I have returned. I am here again. I have shaken the dust of all the lands from my feet, and I have come to you. I am with you. After long years of long wandering, I have come to you again. Should I tell you everything I have seen, experienced, and drunk in? Or do you not want to hear about all the noise of life and the world? But one thing you must know. The one thing I have learned is that one must live this life. This life is the way, the long sought-after way to the unfathomable, which we call the divine. There is no other way. All other ways are false paths. I found the right way. It led me to you, to my soul. I return, tempered and purified. Do you still know me? How long the separation lasted? Everything has become so different. And how did I find you? How strange my journey was. What words should I use to tell you on what twisted paths a good star has guided me to you? Give me your hand, my almost forgotten soul. How warm the joy at seeing you again, you long disavowed soul. Life has led me back to you. Let us thank the life I have lived for all the happy and all the sad hours, for every joy and every sadness. My soul, my journey should continue with you. I will wander with you and ascend to my solitude. The spirit of the depths forced me to say this, and at the same time to undergo it against myself, since I had not expected it then. I still labored, misguidedly, under the spirit of this time, and thought differently about the human soul. I thought and spoke much of the soul. I knew many learned words for her. I had judged her and turned her into a scientific object. I did not consider that my soul cannot be the object of my judgment and knowledge. Much more are my judgment and knowledge the objects of my soul. Therefore the spirit of the depths forced me to speak to my soul, to call upon her as a living and self-existing being. I had become aware that I had lost my soul. From this we learn how the spirit of the depths considers the soul. He sees her as a living and self-existing being, and with this he contradicts the spirit of this time, for whom the soul is a thing dependent on man, which lets herself be judged and arranged, and whose circumference we can grasp. I had to accept that what I had previously called my soul was not at all my soul, but a dead system. Hence I had to speak to my soul as to something far off and unknown, which did not exist through me, but through whom I existed. He whose desire turns away from outer things reaches the place of the soul. If he does not find the soul, the horror of emptiness will overcome him, and fear will drive him with a whip, lashing time and again in a desperate endeavor and a blind desire for the hollow things of the world. He becomes a fool through his endless desire, and forgets the way of his soul, never to find her again. He will run after all things and will seize hold of them, but he will not find his soul, since he would find her only in himself. Truly his soul lies in things and men, but the blind one seizes things and men, yet not his soul in things and men. He has no knowledge of his soul. How could he tell her apart from things and men? He could find his soul in desire itself, but not in the objects of desire. If he possessed his desire and his desire did not possess him, he would lay a hand on his soul, since his desire is the image and expression of his soul. If we possess the image of a thing, we possess half the thing. The image of the world is half the world. He who possesses the world but not its image possesses only half the world, since his soul is poor and has nothing. The wealth of the soul exists in images. He who possesses the image of the world possesses half the world, even if his humanity is poor and he owns nothing. But hunger makes the soul into a beast that devours the unbearable and is poisoned by it. My friends, it is wise to nourish the soul. Otherwise, you will breed dragons and devils in your heart. Soul and God. On the second night, I called out to my soul, I am weary. My soul, my wandering has lasted too long. My search for myself outside of myself. Now I have gone through events and find you behind all of them. For I made discoveries on my erring through events, humanity and the world. I found men, and you, my soul, I found again, first in images within men, and then you yourself. I found you where I least expected you. You climbed out of a dark shaft. You announced yourself to me in advance, in dreams. They burned in my heart and drove me to all the boldest acts of daring and forced me to rise above myself. You let me see truths of which I had no previous inkling. You let me undertake journeys whose endless length would have scared me if the knowledge of them had not been secure in you. I wandered for many years, so long that I forgot that I possessed a soul. Where were you all this time? Which beyond sheltered you and gave you sanctuary? Oh, that you must speak through me, that my speech and I are your symbol and expression. How should I decipher you? Who are you, child? My dreams have represented you as a child and as a maiden. I am ignorant of your mystery. Forgive me if I speak as in a dream, like a drunkard. Are you God? Is God a child, a maiden? Forgive me if I babble. No one else hears me. I speak to you quietly, and you know that I am neither a drunkard nor someone deranged, and that my heart twists in pain from the wound whose darkness delivers speeches full of mockery. You are lying to yourself. You spoke so as to deceive others and make them believe in you. You want to be a prophet and chase after your ambition. The wound still bleeds, and I am far from being able to pretend that I do not hear the mockery. How strange it sounds to me to call you a child, you who still hold the all without end in your hand. I went on the way of the day, and you went invisibly with me, putting the pieces together meaningfully, and letting me see the whole in each part. You took away where I thought to take hold, and you gave me where I did not expect anything, and time and again you brought about fate from new and unexpected quarters. Where I sowed, you robbed me of the harvest, and where I did not sow, you gave me fruit 100-fold. And time and again I lost the path and found it again where I would never have foreseen it. You upheld my belief when I was alone and near despair. At every decisive moment, you let me believe in myself. Like a tired wanderer who had sought nothing in the world apart from her, shall I come closer to my soul. I shall learn that my soul finally lies behind everything, and if I cross the world, I am ultimately doing this to find my soul. Even the dearest are themselves not the goal and end of the love that goes on seeking. They are symbols of their own souls. My friends, do you guess to what solitude we ascend? I must learn that the dregs of my thought, my dreams, are the speech of my soul. I must carry them in my heart and go back and forth over them in my mind, like the words of the person dearest to me. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Why should I henceforth not love my dreams and not make their riddling images into objects of my daily consideration? You think that the dream is foolish and ungainly. What is beautiful? What is ungainly? What is clever? What is foolish? The spirit of this time is your measure, but the spirit of the depths surpasses it at both ends. Only the spirit of this time knows the difference between large and small, but this difference is invalid, like the spirit which recognizes it. The spirit of the depths even taught me to consider my action and my decision as dependent on dreams. Dreams pave the way for life, and they determine you without you understanding their language. One would like to learn this language, but who can teach and who can learn it? Scholarliness alone is not enough. There is a knowledge of the heart that gives deeper insight. The knowledge of the heart is in no book, and is not to be found in the mouth of any teacher, but grows out of you like the green seed from the dark earth. Scholarliness belongs to the spirit of this time, but this spirit in no way grasps the dream. Since the soul is everywhere, that scholarly knowledge is not. But how can I attain the knowledge of the heart? You can attain this knowledge only by living your life to the full. You live your life fully if you also live what you have never yet lived, but have left for others to live or to think. You will say, "But I cannot live or think everything that others live or think." But you should say, "The life that I could still live, I should live. And the thoughts that I could still think, I should think." It appears as though you want to flee from yourself so as not to have to live what remains unlived until now. But you cannot flee from yourself. It is with you all the time and demands fulfillment. If you pretend to be blind and dumb to this demand, you feign being blind and deaf to yourself. This way you will never reach the knowledge of the heart. The knowledge of your heart is how your heart is. From a cunning heart you will know cunning. From a good heart you will know goodness. So that your understanding becomes perfect, consider that your heart is both good and evil. You ask, "What? Should I also live evil?" The spirit of the depths demands, "The life that you could still live, you should live." Well-being decides, not your well-being, not the well-being of the others, but only well-being. Well-being is between me and others. In society, I too lived, which I had not done before, and which I could still do. I lived into the depths. And the depths began to speak. The depths taught me the other truth. It thus united sense and nonsense in me. I had to recognize that I am only the expression and symbol of the soul. In the sense of the spirit of the depths, I am as I am in the visible world, a symbol of my soul. And I am thoroughly a serf, completely subjugated, utterly obedient. The spirit of the depths taught me to say, "I am the servant of a child." Through this dictum I learn, above all, the most extreme humility, as what I most need. The spirit of this time, of course, allowed me to believe in my reason. He let me see myself in the image of a leader with ripe thoughts. But the spirit of the depths teaches me that I am a servant, in fact, the servant of a child. This dictum was repugnant to me, and I hated it. But I had to recognize and accept that my soul is a child, and that my God in my soul is a child. If you are boys, your God is a woman. If you are women, your God is a boy. If you are men, your God is a maiden. The God is where you are not. So, it is wise that one has a God. This serves for your perfection. A maiden is the pregnant future. A boy is the engendering future. A woman is having given birth. A man is having engendered. So, if you are childlike beings now, your God will descend from the height of ripeness to age and death. But if you are developed beings, having engendered or given birth, in body or in soul, so your God rises from the radiant cradle to the incalculable height of the future, to the maturity and fullness of the coming time. He who still has his life before him is a child. He who lives life in the present is developed. If you thus live all that you can live, you are developed. He who is a child in this time, his God dies. He who is developed in this time, his God continues to live. The spirit of the depths teaches this mystery. Prosperous and woeful are those whose God is developed. Prosperous and woeful are those whose God is a child. What is better, that man has life ahead of him, or that God does? I know no answer. Live. The unavoidable decides. The spirit of the depths taught me that my life is encompassed by the divine child. From his hand, everything unexpected came to me, everything living. This child is what I feel as an eternally springing youth in me. In childish men you feel the hopeless transience. All that you saw passing is yet to come for him. His future is full of transience. But the transience of the things coming toward you has never yet experienced a human meaning. Your continuing to live is a living onward. You engender and give birth to what is to come. You are fecund. You live onward. The childish is unfruitful. What is to come to him is what already has been engendered and already withered. It does not live onward. My God is a child, so wonder not that the spirit of this time in me is incensed to mockery and scorn. There will be no one who will laugh at me as I laughed at myself. Your God should not be a man of mockery. Rather, you yourself will be the man of mockery. You should mock yourself and rise above this. If you have still not learned this from the old holy books, then go there. Drink the blood and eat the flesh of him who was mocked and tormented for the sake of our sins, so that you totally become his nature. Deny his being apart from you. You should be he himself, not Christians, but Christ. Otherwise, you will be of no use to the coming God. Is there anyone among you who believes he can be spared the way? Can he swindle his way past the pain of Christ? I say, such a one deceives himself to his own detriment. He beds down on his thorns and fire. No one can be spared the way of Christ, since this way leads to what is to come. You should all become Christ's. You do not overcome the old teaching through doing less, but through doing more. Every step closer to my soul excites the scornful laughter of my devils, those cowardly ear-whisperers and poison-mixers. It was easy for them to laugh, since I had to do strange things.